Oh, I really love that kōrero we just had, and I guess one of my wonderings, and maybe we'll start with you, is like when you experience that red brain that we call distress, which is not that healthy stress. Where do you sort of sense it sitting on your tinana or on your physical body?
I've never thought about that so much. I remember when we got some pretty traumatic news, my whole body went tingly and sort of hot, and that's like being punched with, like a death or something like that. But when I'm under stress, I think it's head and shoulders, I think that's where I carry that stuff, and I have these things where I go to sleep and I go, a problem at 2 o'clock in the morning is actually 10 times the size of a problem 8 o'clock in the morning when you've had a cup of tea and a bit of kei, So I because I know that, I tell myself that, it's not as big because I can blow things out. But yeah, sort of in those areas, I find stress.
Thank you for sharing that, Pio, because it is different for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like where distress sits on their tinana is different for everyone. Sometimes it's in people's legs, sometimes it's in their puku, sometimes it's in the chest area, in the back area, sometimes it sits on their skin. Sometimes it just sits in the lungs because the breathing just goes out, or even in their henenaro, in their head space. And I guess one of the beauties of being human is our body tells us when it's not in an okay space. We don't have to wait for our henenaro to go out sometimes or get blurred. Sometimes it sits in our tinana, and people tend to find things to appease that part of our tinana that's crying out, hey, I'm stressed, hey, I'm stressed. And the thing is, people, can you imagine if we just ignored that? Where that ailment could lead to? And so for people, it's really important to pinpoint, where does it sit on my tinana? And then also have some strategies around how am I going to manage that?
It's owning it again, eh?
Owning it, yeah. Absolutely. Owning it.
See, one of the most boring things I've ever done was get a massage because I'm impatient. And you're talking away on and thinking, I should get a massage.
Yeah, and how do you feel after that?
Oh, I can't remember. I'm still here. But it's so, I think I know I really agree with that. Listen to your tinana and don't ignore it, is the point. Don't ignore it.
Don't ignore it, because there's a species that wants to survive, that is created to live, and we're going to try and figure that out, but we need to figure it out in the green brain, like you said.
So if you feel it in your tinana, you have to deal with it.
Yeah. If you feel it in your tinana, it's important that you find some really good coping strategies to be able to manage it.
I just want to stop you there. That phrase, coping strategies, is a biggie. I'd like to find a better phrase for it than coping strategies.
That's good.
But if we ignore all of us, even though we're talking specifically about our whānau down there working in forestry, but, mamai is mamai, grief is grief. If we ignore looking at positive coping strategies, then that's not flash. Yeah, you're going to fall over.
You are going to fall over. It's not going to make it go away. In fact, sometimes it makes it worse. So you're right. Finding some really good positive activities, or maybe even some people who may bring some of that positivity.
Right. Definitely. Go and play with your mokos or whatever, but make sure you're in a good space. So you're talking about where that mamai sits on your physical tinana, recognising it, owning it, having some coping strategies to deal with it. Really, we have to treat ourselves like athletes.
Well, we?
We have to be. Oh, look at me! I'm an athlete. Darts, I think, is my game. But seriously, we have to be selfish with our condition, especially, we've spoken about tapawhā, be selfish. Make sure you get yourself in good shape so you can navigate through these tough times.
Yeah,
Kia ora.
absolutely.